Hello friends, myself Shriram. In this video, we are going to concentrate on how do you copy a file. That means now there are two things. One is you already have a file. Okay, so that means there is a existing file that you already have. Okay, which is there. So that particular file you will read, and then using this file you will create another file. So that I will consider it as a new file. Okay, and in this new file you are going to copy the contents of what you have in the file 1. So here let me just put it here, file 1, where I am going to do reading, and then new file, let me just call it as a file 2. Then file 2 essentially will have contents, or file 2 I will open it and then I will copy the contents of file 1. That means we are essentially going to do copy of file 1. Okay, so there is going to be a new file, and then in this new file what you basically do is you are going to copy this particular characters. Okay, so you copy file 1. So that means what? So you have a file 1 which you are going to open for reading, and when you are having new file, or when you are going to have new file, that is file 2, this essentially the mode will be for writing. It is very important. Okay, so one file is for reading and another file is for writing mode. So we will use this basic code that we have developed earlier. So let me just copy this simple thing for the time being. Okay, so that I save some amount of typing. So here now I will just have FP. Now instead of calling it FP, I will call it as F1, and then I will call it as F2. Why? Because now you know that file 1 will be used for reading. Okay, so here let me just use F1 pointer. Obviously it's a pointer, so this will be used for reading. Okay, and then F2 will be used for writing purpose. Okay, and then obviously we are going to do character by character reading. Okay, so that I will continue like that. So here obviously character by character reading is what we are going to do. Okay, so here obviously now here we are going to read the file. So this will be F1, and this is, I'll call it as file 1, which will be opened as the reading mode, and then we will have this FP, we will make it F1. Okay, and then if you are unable to open, then obviously you simply exit out. Now what we now need to do is we simply can copy these two lines for the time being. Okay, and we don't, so that we can save some typing. So now we will open F2, and now instead of file 1 I will give say file 2.txt, and now instead of read it will be write. Okay, so here you can see this mode is very important. Mode is write. So second file is basically F2, or file 2 basically is where you are going to provide mode as writing mode. Okay, then once again we will check F2 is equal to null. Then we will say that you cannot open, though instead of this file we will say target file. Why? Because this is like a target file and this is a source file. So you can simply say cannot open source file, and then F2 is equal to null, then you will say cannot open target file. Okay, so now this is done. Once this is done, now what we need to do is we need to close F1. Why? Because now you cannot open target file, but assuming that F1 was able to open, then obviously we need to close F1. You can't keep this file open. Why? Because this is successful, this particular F1 worked. Okay, now when you actually reach this portion of code where F2 failed, so just because F2 failed, you can't simply exit without closing F1. So you need to close F1. So that's a additional information or additional piece of precaution one needs to take care. Okay, so this is like a precaution. Again, I am telling you all this is when you typically handle a larger code and when such situations happen. Okay, now we need to write the while one loop. So obviously let me just copy this while one loop where we are going to read the file. So let me just copy that, and here obviously we will have F1. Okay, we'll also close. Now when we are going to read, character by character, and again it's a indefinite loop. So obviously we will read it in F1. Now what you do, you basically check whether it is end of file, then you just do break. Okay, so this portion will remain. Now instead of showing it on the screen, you essentially use else. Okay, and else, in that else what you do, you make use of function which is corollary of getting something from the file, and that particular function is fput, or a complementary function. You can see this fput is there. Okay, there is fput char also is there. Okay, so right now I am using fput. If I just hover the things here, you will see the same thing, same behavior is there. Here it's here to provide integer value, here you have to provide character. So we will obviously use fput c. Okay, and then you will basically are done. So what you do, you simply provide this character, and it takes two parameter. You can see this character, first is a character, another is a stream. So obviously here f2 is the stream or the file pointer that you basically are going to use. And then we will simply say printf done, that means copying done, and then we can close the file f1. Similarly we can close the file f2. So the difference is, you basically, instead of showing on the screen, now you are going to put it into the f2, and which we have opened earlier in a write mode. So let's see now this. So let me execute this code. Yeah, so you will see this copying done has come. So now where is this file? So let's go to this and here open the file 2. Yeah, you can see this, whatever I just typed here, all those things are there. Now let me change this file 1. Okay, so this is file 2. So let me change something in file 1. Why? Because we are reading. So let me remove all these things and let me put here I am going to drink juices. I am going to drink juice of apple. Let me add this statement. Okay, I like eating apple also. So let me just put few things here. Okay, so this is some addition I have done, and I will give a tab here so that we can understand. Let me close this and I will now run this code once again. Yeah, so it has said copying done. Let me open file 2. Yeah, so you see file 2 now got this messages. I'm learning C, this was already there, and I just added in front of you, like I'm going to drink juice of apple. I like eating apple also, whatever. So all those things you can do. So that means now this file copy has worked. So what are the important points to learn from this program? You require two pointers, file pointers, that is F1 and F2. F1 is where you basically have a source file, so you open it in read mode. The file 2 you open it in write mode. Then you obviously have this while one loop. In the while one loop, you once again check the end of file for file 1, and when you do this fput c, basically it puts character, it copies, let me just word put use copies character to file 2, and then obviously this will keep on happening in the loop till end of file of f1 is reached, and then you will see this message, and then after that you close f1 and f2. So I hope you like this program. It's pretty relatively simple, but it gives you an idea about how do you basically do reading as well as writing in the same code. That's a very important point. Thank you.